when I saw that look on her face, it was almost like a light bulb went off. And even though I had been doing this for so long, for some reason it was her reaction that really made me think about it. That is the solution to the problem. Change the generational curse, because what we're going through now in the media is nothing but generation after generation of ingrained thought and ingrained process and ingrained standards of beauty. We can change that. Welcome back to my channel. Before I get started with this video, you guys already know I have to make a quick disclaimer. I want this video to be nothing but positivity, and if you can't communicate with anything but that, then it's not even going to be a thing of me going back and forth with you about it. It's just going to be a thing of I delete the comment and me not even acknowledge it. The reason I say that is because personally I have just really been feeling some kind of way just about the direction and just the things that I have been seeing on YouTube and Instagram and social media really over the last year. It just seems like it's just a lot of negativity being perpetuated. And I just remember there was a time when YouTubers were really positive. Like, it was just a really great environment to be in. It was a very positive environment. I remember being on like the blogs and or the different hair websites. It was just nothing but a big community of positive people. And now it just seems like everybody's mad at everybody else and everybody wants to throw shade and take digs at everybody else. I don't have, like, I literally get exhausted sometimes getting on YouTube or getting on Instagram, and it's just always just some kind of shade there. And I just remember it didn't used to always be that way, and I just feel like, I don't know what it is, but I just feel like the more that YouTube has grown and, you know, people start to look at it a certain way and, you know, competition and things like that, it just has turned into something completely different. And I don't want that in my atmosphere, in my space, on my YouTube. Like, there are plenty of places on the social media world that like they welcome that, they breathe that. Like, it literally got to the point where there are certain natural hair like Instagram pages and things like that it just almost reminds me of like the shade room. And it's almost like it's all this arguing and bickering and backbiting and talking about each other and throwing shade, and it's like, is this for inspiration, or are we all just looking for a reason to like be angry? So yes, I have spoke about what's going on in the natural community, and I'm very vocal about things like that just because I care about my community, and I really hate to see people like back and forth and, you know, against each other, dividing with each other, blaming each other. I just really hate to see that. But that's not even what this video is about. Like, if you've seen that video, you already know the video that I'm referencing, and I said what I said and I left it at that. But this particular video actually is not even stemmed from anything in that video, even though I did ask you guys, you know, to like, what do you think solutions would be and what do you think would make it better. This actually stemmed from something that happened to me today. So just a little bit of backstory on how I grew up. As you guys can see, I am a brown girl. I've been a brown girl my whole life. I do have somewhat of a tan, which I'm like really loving right now, but it wasn't always that way. Growing up, I really did have a color complex. Literally, I don't remember ever hearing anything good referencing my skin. It was always, you're pretty for a dark skinned girl, or, you know, you're so dark you need to stay out of the sun because you're gonna get a tan, or don't bring home no dark skinned man because if you do, y'all baby's gonna be black as hell, you're gonna have little dark babies. Or I was always the dark skinned friend. And what's funny about all that is that things like that now I welcome. Like, I want to be in the sun, I want to get a tan. Like, I date dark skinned men, my boyfriend is a dark skinned man. I can't wait to have like a chocolate baby. The pretty for a dark skinned girl thing I will check you quick about, because that's saying that dark skinned girls aren't beautiful on their own. But for the most part, like, looking back on it now, I'm like, I welcome all that. But growing up, when you hear things like that, it automatically trains you to tell yourself certain things in your head, like, you know, I am too dark, or I don't fit in, or I'm not the standard of what beauty is. And it took me a very, very, very long time until I got to the point where I am now, where I really am comfortable with my skin color. And so because of that, and because I know how damaging it was to me on levels that I only recently started to unpeel, like just accepting certain things from people in my life because I'm feeling like I'm less than certain women, or being insecure, or putting up with stuff for way too long, you know, just things that you are told as a child, and especially during that time in your life, it molds who you are. And I just recently started to really unpack that and to understand, you know, why I allowed some of the things that I did growing up. So for this reason, I always, once I of course like accepted, you know, like I love my skin, for this reason I have always made an effort to, whenever I see a brown skinned girl, or especially a girl that is darker than me, because you know, we can get as white as snow or as dark as coal, and that is what is beautiful about black people. Like, there is no one way to be black, and that's what I always say. Like, it really bothers me when people try to define, you know, what a black woman is, because that's what makes black people beautiful. There's no one way to be black. But especially when I see girls my complexion or darker and they're young girls, I make it a point, like even if I'm not having a conversation with them, I will literally stop a little girl if she's in the grocery store, if I'm at the mall, just anywhere that I see a little girl, and I will just tell her how beautiful her skin is. Like, oh my God, you're so gorgeous, your skin is flawless, I wish I had your skin, I'm jealous. Things that I didn't hear growing up, and things that I actually heard the exact opposite of, I try to consciously stop girls and tell them that, because that may have been the very first time that they heard that. Because a lot of the negative things that I was hearing in my own home, I was hearing from my own family, I was hearing from friends and people who I really cared about their opinion, and I really didn't have anybody to counteract those negative things that I was being told. And because we still live in a society where colorism definitely exists, there's no telling what those little girls are being told. They may be being told the same things that I was being told. So I just always make it a point to stop girls and tell them how beautiful their skin are, or how beautiful their skin is. It wasn't until about a year ago that I started doing the same thing with hair textures. I noticed what was going on in the community, where the divide was, and by no means, like, it's so funny how people can completely like miss the point of something that you're saying. In that last video, by far and large, everybody was like, oh, accept your privilege. By far and large, I understand that there's a privilege that comes with having looser texture hair. Never did I say I didn't understand that. What I said was, we need to come together and focus our energy in the right direction. So about a year ago, I started doing the same thing with women with kinky texture hair, especially for C hair. Every time I saw a little girl that was 16 or under, you guys, if you remember, if you're this age now, I want you to just stop and say, it gets better. I promise it does. But if you guys are like my age or older, or in adulthood, it is kind of hard to remember, because we look at the youth and we're like, oh my God, they are just out of control, blah, blah, blah. That was a very hard time in our lives. That is a very awkward age. You're trying to figure out where you stand in the world, who you are. You're trying to be like everybody else. You don't really, your body's changing. You don't really think that you're pretty. Just a lot of stuff is going on. And so the inner dialects that teens and young girls are having with themselves, especially with social media being like it is, and just seeing all these snapshots of people's lives, and seeing, you know, these depictions of beauty that isn't even real, it is a very, like, I almost feel like they have it harder than we did, because, you know, social media didn't really start getting huge until like I was coming into adulthood. So I cannot imagine being a preteen and a teenager in today's society and so much like standard of beauty being right in your face. And that includes with natural hair, and especially with the representation that is going on with the media right now. Like, I get it. Like, even though I have a looser form of hair, what would be considered like a looser type curl pattern, I absolutely get it. So if you are a teenager in this day and age and you are bold enough to wear your hair natural and you're bold enough to live your authentic self, I applaud you. And I cannot imagine, with this certain standard of beauty that has been perpetuated in the media, how hard it is for little girls and teenagers with 4C hair to feel comfortable with themselves when they don't see a lot of themselves in the media, and when people, just because of how they've been taught and how they've been trained. Because even though I have what's considered a looser, you know, gray of hair, I've been told plenty of times that my hair is nappy and that I need to straighten my hair. And what are you doing with your hair? Are you gonna comb your hair today? Or your hair is unprofessional or whatever. So I can't even imagine what these knuckleheaded boys are saying, and these, you know, grown folks who haven't been taught any better. Like, that's all they know. And like, the thing about that is it's generational. It's passed down from generation to generation to generation. It's almost as if, and it's not almost as if, we have been brainwashed. So these adults and these people who are telling you these things, honestly, you have to look at it for what it is. They don't know any better. They haven't been taught any better. This is literally 300 plus years of generational curses that have been passed down and passed down and passed down. That's what they were taught was unkempt, and that's what their parents was taught was nappy, and that's what their parents was taught was nappy. So all they're doing is continuing to pass down what is considered a generational curse of self-hate and insecurity. It's almost like that age-old saying, if I don't love myself, I don't know how to love somebody else. Certain people or our society has never been taught to love ourselves. So it's not even that they're necessarily trying to hurt you when they tell you that. It's that they've been hurt and that's what they've been taught. So anyway, I'm getting all off topic, but I wanted to give you guys just a little bit of backstory. I work in a hospital, and I was just on my way to lunch, and I happened to pass this mother and daughter who was probably coming from the cafeteria, you know, probably visiting somebody or something. And the little girl looked like she probably wasn't any more than 14. She may not have been any more than that, but she had 4C natural hair, and it was just pulled up in a puff. As she was walking towards me, I could see her staring at my hair. And you know, I'm used to it. Sometimes people, you know, follow me on YouTube. Sometimes people just ask me about my hair, especially if they're natural too. I could see her staring at my hair, and before I even could see her staring at my hair, I spotted her first. And I already said when I got close enough to her, you know, not to be yelling in the hospital, I was gonna compliment her on her hair. So as soon as I got close enough to say something to her, I said, "Oh my God, your hair is so gorgeous." And the look of shock on this little girl's face, like, when I tell you, it almost broke my heart. You could tell that she probably had never been told that before, like, in her life. Like, she just literally, and as I said it, I literally could see her like staring at my hair. I don't know if that's why I get some of the reactions that I get. People are just like, what you think? Just because of, you know, like the ingrained in our mind, like, oh, you have a certain kind of hair, there's no way that you think like that my hair is gorgeous. And I really do, y'all. And it's so funny because if you follow me on Instagram, you know that, you know, I post 4C women on Wednesdays, just prompted from that video, so that people can have more 4C women to follow and for us just to unite. But I honestly do, like, yes, I want to do this to help little girls, but y'all, I think 4C hair is so beautiful, just the things that it can do. But I'm not kidding y'all, I follow so many 4C women on YouTube and Instagram, and that's why when people like, oh, it's not no 4C representation, I'm like, ask me, I can give you plenty of people because I follow them. But when I saw that look on her face, it was almost like a light bulb went off. And even though I had been doing this for so long, for some reason it was her reaction that really made me think about it. That is the solution to the problem. Change the generational curse, because what we're going through now in the media is nothing but generation after generation of ingrained thought and ingrained process and ingrained standards of beauty. We can change that. The reason that 4C hair women feel underrepresented and underappreciated and have been told certain things their entire lives is because that was generations and generations of curses that have told them that. But you know, the way that we fix that, we make our generation the generation that doesn't do that. We make our generation the generation that never tells a girl that she's pretty for a dark-skinned girl, that never tells a girl that her hair is too nappy, that never tells somebody, oh, you got good hair because their hair is a certain texture. We tell people that they have good hair because their hair is healthy. We started with us, and we make it so that the generations coming behind us don't have to experience what we experienced. The generations for us made things better for us with like the civil rights movement and fighting for things that, although our country is still very, very messed up, there's certain things that our generation never has to experience, like a segregated water fountain or sitting on the back of the bus, because the generations before us said, no, we're not gonna let you experience that. And we can do the same thing with inner dialogues, what we are letting these little girls tell themselves based on what we are projecting on them. It's not enough to say, oh, I think 4C hair is beautiful. It's not enough. You have to make a conscious effort to go up to these girls, to say that to them, to tell them that they're beautiful, and tell them that their hair is beautiful, and tell them that their skin is beautiful, because they aren't going to hear it from anyone else. It's just like, it's almost like we are a community of sick people, and sick people can't heal other sick people. I'll use myself as an example. Because I was told at home that I needed to stay out of the sun, or that I was black, or that I had a wide nose, when I went outside and I was told certain things, or certain things were projected on me, I didn't fight those standards because I was already told that at home. So I'm gonna be even that much more acceptable of what the label that you're trying to put on me, because I already accepted that label from my community. It's not enough to double tap a picture on Instagram. It's not enough to follow somebody on social media. We need to actively go up to these girls. Every time you see a little girl with 4C hair or a little girl with dark skin, go up to her and tell her that she's beautiful. It is something so simple that I wish you guys could experience what I experienced when I told that little girl that. It's something that's so simple that could absolutely change the course of somebody's life. And that's the solution to what we have going on right now. And I know a lot of people are gonna say, yeah, you know, that'll help the next generations, but what's gonna fix right now? I don't know what's gonna fix right now. And honestly, if I'm gonna be 100% honest with y'all, I don't even know if there is a fix for my generation and us right now. Just because my generation is so stubborn and we all have gone through so many things, and at this point everybody's right and everybody's so angry, I don't know if there is a fix for our generation. If you're an adult at that point, you control what you allow people to feed you. You control what your inner dialogue is. If you are 21 and older, you control that. You don't have to accept that. You are old enough to know that you are beautiful, that you are fearfully and wonderfully made, that society is bullshit, and that you do not have to accept society's standards of beauty. You have to be a big little boy or little girl and do the work just like everybody else to accept and love yourself. And it starts with yourself. Like, you can't keep forcing the media to accept you before you even accept yourself. And that's what I hear a lot of people saying, like, oh, I want the media to accept me, and the media. And yes, the media is a problem, but if the media never changes, is that going to change the way that you feel about yourself? No, like, you have to do the work and you have to feel good about yourself regardless on whether or not the media ever changes. And this is a situation where you almost have to step back and say it's not about you, because you're grown, you're a big girl, you're a big boy, you can handle yourself. But we're talking about generations of kids and children who we can totally change the trajectory of what they're telling themselves, and we can break the generational curses with us. Just like for hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of years we have been told one thing, all it takes is for one generation to change that, and then hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of years we can make dark skin the standard. Like, you know, all these years, 200 years from now, who knows? Like, dark skin may be the standard of beauty if we make it that way. Kinky hair could be the standard of beauty. I wouldn't be surprised as many of these weird ass videos you see these white girls trying to get afros and trying to do like all these little like Bantu knot styles and things like that. Kylie getting lip surgery and all these butt injections and things like that to have black features. I would not be surprised if there was a whole new completely opposite standard of beauty 100 years from now, even 50 years from now. Like, it's already going in that direction, and all we have to do is to send it in a positive one. Tell a little girl with kinky hair that you love her hair. Tell a dark-skinned girl that her skin is gorgeous, that you're jealous. Like, make a big deal about it. Make it a huge thing. If you're willing to be a part of the solution, leave in the comment section below, I pledge to break the chain. The curse stops with me. So if you guys are looking to do anything for me, share this video and tell a girl that she is beautiful the next opportunity that you get.